So I think it should work, but can anyone confirm if they hear me? Yes, okay, perfect, perfect. Let's wait a minute till some more people join. We'll also post it on X. Sound is good. Okay, amazing. There we go. Okay, let's wait a few minutes till some more people are joined. In the meantime, if you have any questions, always let them know in the chat. Then we're gonna wait a few minutes, then we're gonna start. Let's see if the people in Discord have seen it. Yes. So basically, I'm just waiting for the in this range. So we have the range high and the range low right here. And then here we validated the range. So yeah, what happens in between is a bit of a no trade zone for me. Also because we have our daily low is a London low, which is at hour 8. So this is our daily low and this is our daily high, which both are during London. So it's very, very unlikely that we stay within these zones. So we either gonna take out this high or we're gonna take out the low. So I'm basically waiting for either one of them to be taken out before I'm going for a new trade on Bitcoin. Do you guys see the stream laggy or is it smooth? So I get a message that it might be a bit laggy, but hi Father, good to see you. Yeah, I'm gonna have a look in on Hype in a minute. Can you confirm if is the sound good? It's smooth. Okay, great. It's the first time I'm doing it on YouTube, so I hope it. Let me put an alert here and here, and then we can have a quick look on Hype. Actually, here, ETH is actually exactly the same as BTC. So let's see Hype because you shared the chart. Let's see. Let's look at it from a clean view. Yeah, so on the high time frame, I'm pretty interested in Hype. Yeah, chat is always a bit laggy. on YouTube. Yeah, okay, that's all fine. Because if we look at the high time frame, we front ran these two key demands. However, here we had a super interesting kind of PO3 setup where we had the range low and a long range and heavy sell off right here. Boom. And this was like a super clean deviation below the range. Then we came into the range, retested it, and then had that aggressive set off. And even if we zoom in on, let's see, right here, you can clearly see that the deviation consisted out of a Wyckoff accumulation. So when you ask a question, it takes a while before you see the answer. Okay, that's good to know. But here we can see, oh, 1, 2, 3. And then price, I believe it eventually even came back for this demand before it took off. So you can clearly see that price accumulating. And after that, the aggressive expansion came. Yeah, so you had your 1, 2, 3 right there, then break back to bullish, little range right here, and then extreme demand mitigation. And from there, we broke back in the range, confirming this as our manipulation below the range, move above the range, retest of again this fresh created demand, and then price from there shoot up super aggressively. And what we had after that is this range formation basically. So if we zoom out a bit more, we have this high, then a deep high, low, then a deep push above, which mitigated this key supply. But basically it stayed within the deviation threshold. And then here we have R1, R2, R3, very similar to what we actually had here, but then on a bigger scale. Then we also broke our structure from here left to right back to bullish. So basically this whole zone right here is range demand, where we already mitigated the top right here, but we have more refined levels resting below. So I think we have a good chance to come into here, form here the higher low, and then push higher. But that's on the bigger scale. I think your trades were more on the low time frame, so have a look at it. Because this is super clean liquidity point. This is demand. Here we had a very local 1, 2, 3 model 1. This was the 1, 2, 3. This was the short I took yesterday, where we had the, let's see, was this Wednesday? Supply. Yeah, that was the short I took yesterday from here. And then oh wait. This was the short I took. So with the basically the 1, 2, 3 model 2, then here extreme supply taken out. Then we broke internal structure from here back to bearish again. And then this was basically the supply retest, where we also came back into our full, yeah, our range POC. And from there we sold off. And right now we are kind of showing a bit of accumulative behavior again with the 1, 2, potentially 3. What do we have below here? Here we have some demand zones. You can mark out. which got mitigated right now. However, that last move is super aggressive, so that's not in general what I like to see, because we are leaving supply behind right here. So it can be a model 1. Do you guys hear the music on the background? And if so, is it too hard, or do you guys don't hear it? Because I like to have some music, but if it's irritating or... So I actually think that this is more bearish than bullish right now until proven otherwise. The thing that I like is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like crazy amount of sell-side liquidity. So this was a super clean short actually. And I think Astali also... Astali, did you take it? Can't hear the music. Okay, perfect. Because basically if you look at main structure is this higher low, higher high. So this is your mark structure low. But if you look at this local structure from here, higher high, higher low, higher high, then you break it to bearish right here. So this is your bearish boss right here. And then here you broke it down. So here you created super clean supply. So I'm actually gonna set an alert there and ignore the model 1. The only way I'm interested in longs right here is if we push up, take out supply, and then give a really clean return to zone and break structure back to bullish. Then it can be interesting to look at this return to zone for a long again. But beside that, right now, this move, and especially this one, is too vertical for me to be interested in longs. I didn't take the bearish post. Yeah, it's also a pretty hard one. Yeah, yesterday I had the short here. From here, something. And then I closed this morning right here when I saw that we were kind of accumulating. But I like to trade like Hype is throwing pretty clean models. But here the distribution, accumulation, here also kind of like a local model 2. And let's see what the volume profile is, because maybe we are at the value area low, so it's not the best place to look for shorts. But what I see, like we're not gonna pump back to this high right here. Let's make that a full line. We're not gonna pump to this high or new highs while leaving these extremely ugly lows there. So I actually think that we can watch at it from this range again. And then this is our second tap. And this is all internal bullshit, basically. And that we have, like for high time frame, this range low. That's my interest. And that's also where the demand zones are. And then the higher low for the higher high eventually will be, most likely. Okay, so most people have joined by now, so that's a good moment to welcome everyone. Welcome to the first stream on YouTube. The former ones were on Discord, but yeah, this one is a bit faster and also automatically records my videos, so that's a good thing. As most of you probably know, this week I launched the Discord server where I have like the free part where I also share a lot of my analysis. So here you can see, for example, the hype analysis, my ETH analysis, Bitcoin analysis, statistic updates, a lot of updates. So definitely make sure to join the free side of the server. I will post you can find the post on my Twitter, so that should not be a problem. And then I also have of course, the premium side of the server, where we have the premium Discord community with Astali post charts, some other clean charts being sent, and yeah, of course, my own channels where I share a lot of updates for crypto, for TradFi, so mainly gold and the S&P 500, and use these statistics to determine the main bias for the week. And then also here a lot of videos for just the basics to understand my system, and more will follow. And then also some more. So definitely make sure to check it out. You can join a premium by paying a monthly fee, or there will be a new option where you can use my Buy 2next link, and then you can also get access. In the announcement channel, you can find the discount code where you get 30% discount, which is only valid for a few more days. So if you want to make use of that, certainly do. And then for now, in a stream, I just want to go over my usual plan. So how do I watch BTC? How do I incorporate the statistics, both the daily and the weekly stats? And then just you get an idea of how I trade. So let's put that away and zoom out a little bit to determine what we had this week. So let's just use the clean chart. Yeah, this is so makes me crazy. Oftentimes when I'm on my phone, then I try to reframe the chart like this, but then on my phone I drag the ranges everywhere. So then when I see the chart again, my whole range is fucked up. But basically this is the range where we're trending down from basically from our all-time high. We have been in a downtrend where we each time we come down, so high to low, you pull your range from low to high because we're in a downtrend. And then we each time create a redistribution range, which means you have an open low and you take the high. High, take the high, boom, go down. Then because you are here again in a downtrend, pull again your range from low to high. This was our latest 2-month range, where we again had range high, sweep of the high, and then PO3. Again, boom, down. Right now we are still in a downtrend. Our daily market structure high is this point right here. And our 4-hour market structure is the high right here. So every range should be treated as a distribution range until proven otherwise, simply because we are in a downtrend. And if you look at the best ranges, what you see is that you have a naked low and you take the highs. Naked low, you take the highs. If we go back to the past, every time in a bull market, you take the lows, and in a bear market, you take the highs, purely to gather liquidity. Because in a bull market, if you take the lows, everyone is bearish, which means that big boys can enter longs. In a bear market, everyone is becoming bullish when you take the highs, which means that they can sell off and enter shorts. So right now we have naked low again, the high. Here we take the high. So if we look at the 4-hour structure, which more or less is this, then we have this. So 4-hour market structure is located at this point. Here we also have, I believe it's 12-hour supply. Yeah, 12-hour supply and more refined 4-hour supplies right here. So the zone from here is super important because we have our deviation threshold located at 75.5K. We have different strong supply zones, and we have our market structure, bearish market structure right there. So until we confidently break above this level, I just see this range as a distribution range until proven otherwise. However, what is a little bit different right now compared to the former ranges is that we had a kind of an accumulation right here and then broke out of it, in which we left a lot of demand zones behind. So I think that this range has a little bit more time, where instead of this being our distribution, we might next week come back down here and then eventually get a more drawn out distribution range, in which this is the 1, this is the 2, and then next week or so, or like there, we get that third drive for the distribution, taking out all this sell side liquidity. And also for this week, let me erase that point. The chances that that this will be our weekly high on Wednesday are very, very slim. So there's a big chance that we will take out this high today, tomorrow, or Sunday. That's a pattern that happens a lot. And I can show you that by the statistics. So let me go to the statistics. And then let me say hi to the guys in the chat. Welcome, Sudo, Privilege, good to see you. And Arnaud Weird, good to see you. I think Arnaud, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but we spoke about on Twitter, right? About Wyckoff and the Einstein of the Weinstein, I believe, at least. But if we look at the weekly statistics, then we can see, so what is this week? Our weekly low is this low. So if weekly low right here, weekly high right there. This weekly low was printed on Monday, weekly high on Wednesday. I already know, like I can show you right here. The weekly, so the weekly P1, so that's either the weekly high or the weekly low, has a 65% chance to be formed on Monday. So that's super high, actually. So Monday is always a very important day, because in 65% of the case, you already have your weekly high or your weekly low, which of course is a massive edge to have. So on Monday we had weekly low right here and weekly high at that point was right here. So at weekly low, weekly high right there. And then it was the question, like, is this going to be our weekly P1 or this? So the moment you get confirmation for that is basically when you take it out after Monday, but preferably after Tuesday, because we can see 20% of the weekly P1s also form on Tuesday. So if you combine them, you have like an 85% chance to form your weekly high or your weekly low on Monday and Tuesday. 85%, that's crazy. So the confirmation at this point was with Monday low, Monday high. Then Tuesday was basically top within. And at that point, we knew if we break the low or the high, we have our confirmation for the weekly bias. So eventually on Wednesday, we broke the high. And that meant that we had our weekly low on Tuesday, weekly high at Wednesday. And that showed us that we had a bullish bias, because there's I can show you here, like low P1 flip risk, 8% of the weeks took out the weekly low based on timing, super low. And based on distance, 0% of the weeks took out the weekly low. So right now we know that the chances that we do something like this is close to 0%. It's like 3 or 4% probability that we take that. It can always happen, but it's very unlikely. Then we can know, okay, this low is strong. How likely is it that this high will hold? If we look at timing, then 82% of the weeks form a new P2 after Wednesday. So our current high is on Wednesday, 19 hour 19. So 82% of the weeks form a new high past this high. So that's high. And then 14% of the weeks moved further than 13%. So based on distance, it says that from this low to this high is quite a movement. Most weeks don't make a much bigger movement out of it. So based on distance, there's not a huge amount of room anymore, but the time is always more important. So based on timing, and oftentimes when you do it, you see it on Friday or on Sunday. So based on that, I'm not super bearish right here. I actually think that we have a bigger chance to mitigate this demand and then make new highs, or maybe mitigate this demand and then make new highs. And then if we start showing really clean distribution signs, like tap 2, come back down, tap 3, preferably on Sunday, Monday manipulation, then I would say, okay, this 1, 2, 3, this distribution, I want to short that, and then all the way back to this demand or even lower. But for now, stats tell me I should not be worried about missing the move, because likely we take this high out sooner or later. So that's one way to use the weekly statistics. And we can also use the daily statistics, because right now our, let's see, our daily low is right here. So this is our daily low at our 8, and our daily high is at our 10. Both printed during London. I am very, very sure that we will take either out the low or the high, because London never prints the daily low or the high, and not even, and the chance that it prints both the low and the high are super, super small. So that also tells me here that, let's erase this range. I'm watching it now from this fresh range, range high, range low, mid range, that to become bullish, what I would like to see is to take out this bad London low, mitigate demand, hope maybe this, but the moment we break structure back to bullish right here, then we potentially also have bullish New York session stats. Then I'm interested in longs targeting a new weekly high based on these statistics. So once again, today it told me London printed the low and the high. Then I'm not gonna trade during London, because I'm pretty sure that the high, like a lot of people will use the high or the low as their invalidation, while both are very improbable invalidations. So it's super likely that it will get taken out at some point. So then using that as your invalidation and use targeting new highs is not the best way. There was actually a 1 minute short after this 1, 2, 3 break to bearish, model 1 break to bearish. So this was actually a short right there, and I can target the sell-side liquidity. But I missed this one. I was not behind my screen, or at least not watching the low time frame. So right now I'm basically waiting for this low to be taken out and then see what the price does, or for this high to be taken out. Was about Wyckoff and Stan Weinstein. Ah, that was it, yeah. Weinstein. Lagging. Okay, I hope it's not too lagging. Otherwise, I'm not sure how to fix it. So basically, alert here and alert there. Then, look, we are also below VWAP, so that's always a sign for me locally bearish. And these are basically my indicators I like to use. And then together with the session stats. Let's quickly look at, okay, nothing too interesting. I saw that before the stream gold was dumping. Yesterday there was a model 1 distribution right here, where you had extreme supply mitigation right there and then sell off. I did not get in because I was waiting for structure in this move, which there wasn't. So I could have reaction traded it, trusting that this would hold, which could have been a play, but I rather had structure, so I missed the structure, did not get in. But the price took out the range low, so the target was hit. And then I was watching for potential model 1 accumulation. But the way price is coming down, I don't really like it. Because we now basically created range supply. So put an alert there. Alert, maybe wick fill. But not too interested in trading it right now. May I ask you for the setting for the IST kill zone? Yeah, sure. Let me quickly go to BTC. So my time zones, I always have the UTC, but it's based on the statistics. So on this platform, here you have Asia session, London session, New York session, and that's a bit different as most people use. But I use it for my mostly for the session stats and stuff. So a lot of people will say that the New York session starts at 14:30. So like 5 minutes ago, they say New York started. And this is also the point where liquidity gets injected. So this is the New York Open, the official New York Open. But the dashboard counts it from 12. So from here, this is officially the statistical New York Open. So that's how I use it. That will show you. So I have Asia is from 12 to 6, London from 6 to 12, New York from 12 to 8. Then, yeah, the rest is not that interesting. Here you can see all the settings, and you can watch this all back if you want to see it, but it's nothing too special. But it shows me that, like, currently we have low and high right there, so we can have a look. What are the session? What is the daily telling us? Here. 24% of the week days took out the daily low, and 30% took out the daily low. So yeah, the stats are leaning a bit more bullish, but both the pivots are London. So here we can see how likely is it that P2 is in. 94% of the days form a new P2 after 10:50. So after London, 95% make a new high or low. And based on distance, we also have like an 80% chance to move further. So if you combine them, it's super, super likely to take out the high or the low. So I'm waiting actually for one of them to be taken. I hope the higher time frame until proven otherwise remains bullish, which is basically here. This is the mid time frame. So this is the higher low, higher high. So here you can basically expect the next higher low for the higher high until proven otherwise. And that's like a bit similar as what you had from this weekend with up, higher low, higher high, deep mitigation, but basically you can expect a higher low for a higher high here. And that's also what we had. So often you get a lot of chop here to make you forget that we are in an uptrend. But eventually it is just high, higher low, high, high, higher low continuation. And for now I expect the same. And then either first POI is this range low take out this demand, then continuation, or yeah, okay, this is 1 hour structure, so that's pretty significant. So like if price is truly bullish, then it should not lose 1 hour structure again. Maybe a quick wick and then a buyback, but preferably it forms the higher low here and then continuation. So this zone, basically this whole zone is where I'm interested in longs. But yeah, now it's just a matter of patiently waiting till we get there. And then often I like to play the 2 or 3 taps. So now we have tab 1. So or it has to be super clean structure right there. And then get your pulse. But oftentimes this will take some more time where you get that move up and then get down. And then get you 1, 2, 3. But this can take like a day more to really form. Or you get that new low where you get your model 1. And then preferably again with a good return to zone like this. So right now price is nearing the demand, but like normally you will think, okay, price is nearing this demand, that is a major POI. But because of stats, I know that this low is a super improbable low. So then I know, okay, this is demand, but it's not significant demand. So I expect basically this demand to fail. And then the reaction will be what happens after taking out the low. Okay, gold seems to be breaking lower, in which this, well, we can extend the range to the second tap. It looks more to me now that price wants to maybe continue the range, because we had the distribution right here, 1, 2, 3, and kind of a model 1 going over into model 2. So the purpose of this range looks to me now more like a distribution range than it will fly over into accumulation. However, I really like this major supply POI. So I hoped to get potentially a long from here into here, and then here show weakness, and then take it all the way to there. Structure wise, that would be for me the cleanest, but you never know. It's just a potential outcome, so you can never stick to any idea. Let's see what hype is doing. Okay, hype is going for that supply retest. So we basically have 1, 2, 3 potential model 1, but we had this supply which price is now testing, which is a good thing because then it's being taken out. Then do we create some demand? Kind of. Let's see on the. Oh, this is already 1 minute. Yeah, the thing is that we lack a good return to zone. So I said we have now taken out supply. If we now get a really slow return here and then break back to bullish, then I'm actually might be interested to long this, stop below this low, and then target the high and potentially beyond, but needs more development. So I'm just going to put an alert here and an alert here, and then wait. So in the meantime, showing like here, no, like 1, 2, 3, pretty clean distribution, or exhaustion at least. And then price came it took extreme liquidity. Yeah, oh. Damn, how did I miss this? This is actually pretty clean short. 1, 2, 3, 3 drive. Model 1, doesn't matter how you want to name it. Then basically this whole zone, is it supply? Look, this is supply as well. So price took out supply, extreme liquidity as well. And you had 5-minute structure in it. So you have basically from low to high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, bearish break to break a structure. After price, bearish bulls. After price took liquidity here and broke to the downside. So you break it. Basically on the break it's valid. So let's say you do it here. Stop there. Then you have to be careful because you have supply above. So there could be a reason for price to mitigate that. It's at 3R. Why didn't I look at Sol today? And it was probably also with London lows. Yeah, London lows. Yeah, look. It's a pretty fresh 3R miss. Are you on London time? Yeah, too many charts to follow. Now, well, I actually try to narrow it down a lot. So I only have these pairs. GBP, Gold, S&P. And then BTC, ETH, Hype and Sol. But Sol is lowest in my list. So I actually had a close eye on all of them except the Sol. And then you will all see that that's exactly the coin that gives you the short trigger. But it doesn't matter. I see that BTC, okay, BTC is in the demand. 72 people are watching, which is great to see. Welcome everyone. Make sure to leave a like to this stream as well. I have no idea where I can see it, but if you appreciate and want to see these streams more often, just leave a like. Don't forget to join the Discord server. Watch at the announcement for the launch 30 for 30% discount for the 2 months, or wait till I enter the by Tunix referral, where you can enter if you trade on my link. And then for now, I'm just waiting for this load to be taken. I'm pretty sure it will happen. And then in the meantime, does anyone have a question, a chart they want me to watch? Here I can see my main coins. So for the weekly, so here you can basically see what is the direction. So on the weekly, they all have a bullish bias. Then this is the timing flip risk. So how likely is it that we take out the low based on timing? Then on BTC 8%, ETH 10%, Sol 8%, Hype 50%. So Hype is the only one that could take out the low. And then here P1 flip risk. So how likely is it to take out the low based on distance statistics? BTC 0%, ETH 6.7%, Hype 22%, and Sol. So on all, it's very unlikely to take out the low, except Hype. And then we can see P2s further. So how likely is it you see bigger movement from a low to high on the week? So on BTC, that's very low. ETH 37%, Hype 94%. So we're gonna have a look at Hype because that definitely has some more throw in it. And Sol has also like 77% chance to make a bigger movement. So Sol has also some room. But let's look at Hype. because hype has 95% chance to make a bigger weekly move. So let's look at what are the weekly high and low. Okay, interesting. So we have the weekly P1 at Monday and the weekly P2 also at Monday. So this is basically Monday's range. And both the Monday's low and high have not been taken out. While in 94% of the weeks make a bigger movement. Let me actually go to hype here. Hype. So, okay, look. Time statistics. Okay, hype is a relatively new coin, so there's not too much data, but still 32 weeks or data points. So can we... Yeah, hype doesn't exist 4 years, so the data set is a bit limited on the weekly, but still, you can see unlikely that P2 is in 100% of the weeks form a new P2 after Monday. So in the existence of hype, it never occurred that the weekly low and the weekly high were both on Monday. So that's already interesting. And unlikely that P2 is in 94% of the weeks moved further than 12.6. So also 94% of the week based on distance make a bigger move than from this low to that high. So if you combine them, 94 and 100, like 96.5% of the weeks, or like 96% probability that you take out either the high or the low this week. However, price is right now in the middle of the range, so we can say that this is our range, our Monday's range. The price is now in the middle of the range, so that's usually not the place to take bets, but we can still monitor our local level, which was this potential Model 1 accumulation right there. What's also interesting right now is if we do have supply, we had supply right here, but it was already mitigated. Then we have some supply right here. But now we know that if we flip this supply, then I'm interested in longs on the backtest, because it's very likely that we then potentially even go to the range high. While if we lose the range, then we have very high probability to go to the range low, because we have seen statistics, it's super, super likely we take either the high or the low. So now the question is, which one will it be? So what we then can do we have internal structure? Well, we have ugly structure, but basically we have just the most obvious is this. So that means that we need to break the range high to confirm a market structure break, which then would confirm very likely the rotation to the range high. But breaking the range high is already high. So if we look at more internal structure from this high, and we have low, high, low basically. Like very locally you break it to bullish here, but because you have supply just above, that's not in my opinion, valid supply to structure to use. So then I would say this is your structure level, horizontal market structure level, right here. So then I'm setting an alert above that high as well. And then I'm just gonna wait little confluence from the volume profile maybe. Yeah, okay, so our value area high is right here. We have the supply right here. Market structure right here, but internal structure like here, which means that if we break above here, we invalidate supply, which shows that demand is probably taking control over supply. Then we also have the value area high here, which means that if we can hold here, we can look for backtest and then maybe enter longs here. Look what the stop loss will be, but safest is the third tap. And then towards the range high, which would still be a pretty good RR. And then you can always look to trill your stop. For example, here, there's no reason to come back here. Then you are 3R plus. So definitely interesting chart, which I'm gonna monitor. What is BTC doing? So we mitigated demand. Right there. Mitigation. But yeah, basically nothing happening until we take out this high or this low. So let's see. Where do you trade gold and FX? I trade on Owanda, but lately it has had trouble placing orders immediately. I use prop firms to trade gold, or at least gold I can trade on the exchange. But I use to trade the S&P and Nasdaq and GU. I do them on prop firms. Let's see what the New York stats. So we have P1 hour 12, P2 hour 14. Yeah. Then let's have a look inside the market. Amazing to see that we almost have 80 views. I did not expect so many viewers, but it's actually very surprising. So thanks for that. Don't forget to leave a like, then more people will see it as well. Here we have the BTC chart. So we see that a lot of longs opened on Monday, but they're still holding pretty strong. And then here yeah, this shows the same as what we have a poor low, which is our London low, and we have a poor high, which is our London high. So also here, very likely to take or both, or at least one. And right below it, we have the POC of yesterday's range, which is around here. So that's also why, if we want to stay bullish, which we are until proven otherwise, you basically want to see like that you test this and then go higher, or what you can also do is that you come back down, test these single prints, take liquidity below your market structure low, weekly VWAP, and then go up. That are like the bullish scenarios, which if we replicate it to the chart, is basically this, then up, or a little lower, take liquidity here, fill this imbalances, and then push up. Because until proven otherwise, we have a lot of demand left behind, while not having super clean supply. And the supply that we have is resting above, which are like 12-hour supply, 4-hour supply, 3-hour supply. Yeah, so are there questions? Because I'm now streaming for an hour and my main plans are clear, which is gold. Yeah, I'm watching this supply, and maybe if we hold, come up to supply and then hold here. Similar idea as hype actually. Is that for potential longs? Similar as for hype. Or come back here in a structured way. Then wait for the bigger structure and then long. Or wait for price to show strength, push above, and then see if we can get in on any structure. Like this or like there. And then trade it higher. On the other pairs, this is all internal, so not really interested in that. What is ETH doing? Yeah, ETH is similar as BTC, where I think we can, where this supply is super important. But right now we have basically high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So interproof and otherwise, higher low for a higher high is most likely. And also because we have demand right here and a lot of lower demand. So I don't think that this is our top. I think it will be a little bit more stretched out. Maybe this, and then come up, third tap, and then down. In which you then have 1, 2, 3, and then go down. Because right now this is looking pretty strong with just demand creations. As you can see, here we have demand. Or a bit looking weird looking because we have that wick. But basically this right here is also demand. Because buyers step in. So it's not the cleanest looking, but it's still demand. And then here you could, like this is London low. So also here I'm just waiting for at least this low to be taken out. But yeah, then I can watch for that, but then it's basically the same as on BTC. So then I prefer to trade BTC. Quick look at Sol. So Sol, if we look at this is our tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. And you can pull your range from here to here, which is the most valid way. So look at this range basically. So then this is the range. This was the missed short, but let's get rid of that. Alert here at the range low, but this is also an important liquidity level. So let's make it a liquidity level. And then below that we have super clean demand. So here we have also multiple outcomes. But main one until proven otherwise is to look for kind of a rounded bottom here and then back to the highs. Then I see the question from Stali. Sorry, what's your plan if BTC takes London high? Yeah, then I think just be patient. Because if we take London high, then I think we also take this high. And then I'm just going to look for distribution models. So if we then come up, take that high, then give a really clean break structure back in the range, then I'm interested in shorts. But I think that it can take longer. So I expect that if we take it here, that we then maybe come back and then come back for the third tap later on Friday or on Sunday. And that this is then our distribution range. So then I'm just being more patient, but I think we will take the low. Just wondering when it will happen. Probably when I go to training or when I'm doing something else again. But I have my alerts ready. So then yesterday I had a new indicator, which is very handy. It is a paid indicator. So I'm also going to say this is kind of a deal where I would mention it. So it's a paid indicator, so keep that in mind. But it shows me the, like, how I draw my boxes are OBIM, so an order block with an imbalance. And that's basically all I use for my demand and supply zones. Every demand and supply is either an OBIM, so an order block with an imbalance, or a range demand, so big range. Quick, how you can know the difference. If my demand is looking like this, then it's oftentimes a single candle demand. And if it's with a black box around it, then it's a range demand. So basically this whole zone is a range demand. So then you have that block around it, and the single demand zones, for example this one, that is just the normal demand. However, if I go to because it can take some while to draw that all in, but with this hidden breaker, I'm gonna show you it from, he is in the Discord under the name Michael C. Ritchie. So this is him. You can DM him or ask me if you want to get more info on it. But look here, then I can go on different time frames and it automatically shows me the OBIMs, which is super handy. So in the morning I can just be a bit more lazy and see here we have 12-hour. Then I overlay that right there, 12-hour supply, demand right there, 8-hour, nothing, 6-hour, look, 6-hour bullish. And you should know if it's valid or not by yourself. But this is just for the lazy people. And I'm rather lazy than tired. So here, this is supply. And that way I can really easily look, and also, for example, on the low time frame, like what is happening. Okay, low time frame, we have demand right here. We have supply right here. So that saves me quite some time, which is super handy. And you can also, like now I only used OBIMs, but you can also use it for unfinished candles, order blocks, and breaker blocks. So for example, here, I know we have a breaker around here. Just hourly breaker. Yeah, so we have 30-minute breaker block right here. So that it also marks out automatically. So pretty handy, but yeah, this was my little shill. Back to the normal chart. And then if there are no questions, then I'm gonna close it. Like here. Because I think my plans are clear. It's just to wait for the low to be taken out, which it seems like we're gonna do it. Let's quickly look at the low time frame. What is the low time frame telling? So we had New York Open right here. Push up, push down, push up. If you're on a 1 minute, it can be super wild, especially if you're super zoomed in. But basically you have low, high, low. this failed to break above, so this is basically your lower high. So your local trend is still bearish. So that's why it's pretty likely that we're gonna take out that low. And we likely gonna do it now. And then you always have to ask, like, how do we come into the level? Do we have structure? I'm now on the 1 minute. So if you don't have structure on the 1 minute, then you don't have it on the 5 or 10 either. So then I know, okay, we have high, low, lower high, lower low. So then this is your market structure level. So then I'm gonna put an alert there. And because this move is so aggressive, I can already tell that we are creating supply on all the time frames. So here we have 5 minute supply. Supply right there. So we are now coming into my POI, but too aggressive, which likely means that we take the low, then maybe come back, but then I'm gonna look for something like this, for example. Because just by seeing this structure, I know that this likely will take time. So it wouldn't surprise me if we maybe even lose this range, or just gonna chop here and then till tomorrow, and then wait for like a new return to zone to be created, like that, and then get that expansion again. Because just pure from structure, this looks not ready yet to explode. I think it can take more time. Let's see. Thanks so much. Super valuable stream. Great, amazing to hear. That's what I'm doing it for. And then can you check oil, please? Third up in making. Sure. I haven't checked oil in a while. Oil. I'm always in doubt which trigger I should use, but I think no, that's not the good one. Oil, help me, someone, if they know which trigger I should use. This one? Ah, this one. Yeah, this looks better. So, yeah, like, that's so funny. Like, what a surprise that the war in Iran broke out. It's like, that's why I like chart so much. It's like literally looking in the future, and as if it's literally a game. The big boys already knew long time ago what was going to happen. 1, 2, 3. Model 2, accumulation, good return to zone, break structure back to bullish. Then here we add even reaccumulations locally. 1, 2, 3. Demand mitigation, boom, push up, bam, bam, bam. This is like, it's amazing, actually. It's crazy. So now price is aggressively expanding. So first thing that you then always have to be very careful is that all people will look for shorts. Basically because you think I'm not gonna long it here because I'm too late to long, so I'm gonna look for shorts. But that's a dangerous approach. Also, I would not count this as my first step. I would count this as your range. And then this is potentially, this is a bit similar as yesterday, what I showed with the potential short on BTC. Where was that? Before we had that aggressive expansion. Because a return to zone is super good. And this is a good return to zone in the building. But a return to zone also means that you have just a lot of buying power. So until proven otherwise, this is likely to go higher. Also because your main structure is like this: high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Then you have an SFP of your high, so that's actually a sign of weakness. But also internally, you have, if you look from this low, you have high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So then this is your market structure low. And then if you even look internally, they have low, high, low, high, low, high. So then this is important market structure low, and then very locally, this is your market structure low. So until proven otherwise, you are in a strong uptrend. And then it's super attractive because you have that 1, 2, 3 potential model 1 distribution in the making. But you need super clean triggers to go against the trend. And that's what a lot of people forget, because they think, oh, if this is the model 1 and this is the short, then what if I short it here, give it a little bit of room, and then go to the technical target, which is, look, 8R. Oh, amazing. If I make 8R my risk, that's amazing. But then they get stopped out because price, instead of breaking lower, it just makes a higher low for a higher high. And then they see price go down, and then they think, oh shit, I was just too early, let me do it again. And then do it again. And then you have two losses, and then before you know it, you need to hit a crazy runner to make those losses back. So until proven otherwise, this is just a super bullish chart, which is creating demand in the process. Like potential model 1, but market structure overrules everything. And structure is still bullish until proven otherwise. Also, the volume profile is probably also supporting. Yeah, so you are also above the value area high and above your point of control. So if you look at the structure, you need to break below here. Then you break internal structure, you invalidate this demand. So then you can potentially look for slow return, and then for a model 1 going over into model 2. That could be a play that I would be more willing to short. Right now I will be super careful with shorting. Then your return to zone also looks a bit better. Like this. So yeah, I would advise to be super cautious with shorting oil, just because it can be a potential model. So BTC took out the weak London low as expected, but right now it's putting them. It's not super interesting. Okay, hype is going for the bearish route. Came into supply, aggressive sell-off. So now there's not much to hold price up. Yeah, so I will not be surprised if this bigger 1, 2, 3, 4 basically goes to the range low. So price is creating new supply. So then, and this is how flexible you have to be basically, because first I was potentially interested in longs, but now I see that sellers are in control. So now you could potentially look for lower high for lower low. So putting an alert there. BTC needs time, hype, potential shorts. Sol also taking the low, but yeah, it needs more time. I want this low to be taken out. Gold, super weak. I think also losing the deviation threshold right now. So then if we get a pullback, it's very likely to be a lower high for lower low. And US oil is, in my opinion, likely to just pump higher. So that was it, basically. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Love to see new people in the chat as well. So I will watch back the stream to see how laggy it was. If it's too laggy, then I will try to see how to fix it. But otherwise, I will keep at YouTube because it also automatically records it so everyone can look it back. But that's for a later moment. Thanks for everyone for tuning in and hope to see you guys in the Discord server. If not, also fine. But I think it's super valuable. So yeah, we'll speak it to each other. And tomorrow, new stream during New York Open, probably. So see you guys there.